would you feel if one day you woke up on a distant planet where the sky is not blue but glowing red, where everything is immersed in red tones with nothing but an endless sunset? We're talking about Kepler 186f, the first planet discovered in 2014 by the Kepler Space Telescope with a size close to that of Earth. It lies in the habitable zone around a red dwarf star, located about 500 light-years away from us. With the potential to contain liquid water, an essential element for life as we know it. In this place, if life truly exists under those different conditions, would our definition of life still be valid? One of the most interesting characteristics of Kepler 186f is the interaction between it and its host star, creating unique climate conditions that we have never experienced. Not merely a perfect copy of Earth, it is also a vast laboratory of the universe, where the laws of nature may have written a completely different chapter about life. Kepler 186f does not greet life with dazzling light. It whispers, slowly and solemnly. This planet only receives about 1/3 of the energy that Earth absorbs from the Sun. And most of that light is red and infrared, a type of light that doesn't blind the eyes, but could form the foundation for an entirely alien biology. In this silent red world, photosynthesis, if it exists, would no longer rely on the green of leaves, but might shift toward shades of black or purple, adapting to consume every faint ray of light like a desperate being craving life in the endless night. But light is more than just a matter of vision. It is the pulse of time. And here, time may have frozen, in the literal sense, due to tidal locking. One side of the planet may always face the red dwarf star, eternally radiant like an endless dawn. The other side remains in perpetual darkness, cold and isolated, like the deepest chasm of the universe. And if life does exist, it wouldn't be confined to extremes. It would cling to the edge, the fragile twilight zone between day and night, where temperatures don't scorch nor freeze. It's a neutral land, a strip of existence caught between light and shadow, much like humanity's own existence between chaos and balance. The atmosphere of Kepler 186f, if it exists, might be thick and rich in CO2, like a greenhouse blanket covering the surface. In this embrace, the temperature could be warm enough to allow liquid water, an essential ingredient for life, to persist in some areas. Old lakes, hidden beneath a red mist, could be the birthplace of the first forms of life, or perhaps they have already been home to strange creatures long before we ever laid eyes on this distant planet. If life ever took root on Kepler 186f, it wouldn't simply be a mirror image of Earth. It would be a whole new chapter in the cosmic epic of evolution, written in shades of red light, shadows, and silence. Imagine a forest lying at the boundary between day and night. There is no green here. The color of life is black, deep purple, and brownish red. Pigments evolved to absorb every faint ray of light from the distant star. But plants here are not fragile. They are resilient living structures. Leaves thick as biological armor, roots burrowing deep into cold stone in search of precious water. They do not just survive, they endure with determination. In a world where light is a scarce resource, vision becomes a luxury. The life forms of Kepler might see, using sound waves, thermal sensors, or electrical signals, much like sharks in the deep, dark oceans of Earth. Their skin, thick, dark, absorbing heat and protecting against radiation, serves as a testament to a planet that is unforgiving, some species may even glow, not for beauty, but as a signal, a language of existence calling to mates, warning enemies, or lighting the way through an endless night. The food chain on Kepler isn't just a game of predator and prey, it's an evolutionary symphony. Like souls hunting through the dark, they would use sound, electrical fields, or heat to break the rules of silence. From all this brutality, one thing becomes clear: if life ever appeared here, it has learned not just how to live, but how to fight the darkness, to exist in the delicate twilight zone between life and oblivion. In the fragile zone between light and darkness, life does not simply exist alone. It forms communities, complex, adaptive, and driven by survival instincts. In the twilight zone, where temperatures balance and the light is neither too harsh nor too dim, plants and animals thrive in an ongoing race to multiply. But this does not mean stillness. Some species choose to migrate slowly, like biological currents, moving from the light side to the dark, or vice versa, according to the rhythm of the climate, water sources, or the unique seasonal cycle defined by this distant world. Well, there is no human language here, but there are low calls carrying far across the thick atmosphere. There is bioluminescence, vibrant signals on the skin, flashing like love calls or warnings. Chemical scents permeate, colorless, shapeless, but unmistakable messages between species: a stranger, a water source, a threat, or the season for reproduction. Some species live in herds, not for love, but for survival efficiency. On a planet where harshness is the default, community isn't just an organization, it's an evolutionary strategy. But life doesn't just battle predators, it must also fight against the planet itself. When light shifts, when the climate changes, or when natural disasters triggered by thermal storms occur. Some species retreat. Their skin changes color, blending into the environment. Their bodies freeze into hibernation, waiting for better conditions. On Kepler 186f, if life exists, it isn't a harmonious symphony. It's an epic, fiery anthem in the silence, where each behavior, each migration cycle, and each flickering light in the dark is a statement. We are here. We have evolved to conquer the impossible. Kepler 186f is just one of the countless distant stars in the universe, but it represents a very real hope. Could there be life beyond Earth? The habitable zone, where liquid water can exist, is not a unique characteristic found only on Kepler 186f. Astronomers have discovered a series of planets with similar conditions, located within the habitable zones of other stars. For example, Proxima Centauri b, a world closer to us at just 4.2 light-years away, or TRAPPIST-1, where 7 rocky planets, 3 of which are in the habitable zone, continue to fuel scientists' hopes that life might exist in a star system only a few dozen light-years away. The question is not whether these planets could support life, but whether we could find life forms that are completely different from what we know, life that has evolved to adapt to completely different conditions than those on Earth. On Earth, we have extreme organisms capable of surviving in the harshest environments, bacteria that thrive in hot springs reaching up to 100 degrees Celsius, fish that live in deep waters where sunlight never reaches. These organisms have surpassed the boundaries of life we once thought impossible. So, could Kepler 186f be a step forward in humanity's evolution? Could we continue to exist in such a harsh environment, or would we merely be a pale imitation of ourselves, struggling against the cosmic forces beyond our imagination? Kepler 186f, a distant planet located within the habitable zone of a red dwarf star, presents us with a promising vision of life beyond Earth. However, life on this planet is far from a simple story. Beneath its Earth-like appearance, Kepler 186f harbors harsh challenges that even the most intelligent life forms might struggle to overcome. Red dwarfs emit large amounts of infrared and ultraviolet radiation, which not only affects photosynthesis but can also deeply impact the biological structures of the life forms on this planet. Creatures on Kepler 186f will have to face an environment where life must continuously find ways to protect itself from the harsh radiation from their parent star. The question is, can these life forms evolve survival mechanisms strong enough to shield themselves from such intense radiation? Despite being in the habitable zone, Kepler 186f still experiences significant temperature fluctuations and unstable weather conditions. The weak red light from the red dwarf causes temperatures to be unpredictable, leading to dramatic shifts between day and night. The ecosystem on Kepler 186f must adapt to this constant change. Can life forms sustain themselves in an environment where conditions fluctuate rapidly and liquid water could easily evaporate or freeze? Finally, liquid water, a fundamental necessity for life, will be the greatest challenge. If temperature variations are too extreme, the existence of liquid water will become a critical issue. Creatures on Kepler 186f will need to find ways to preserve and maintain water in such an unstable environment. On Kepler 186f, will there be enough water to support life? Or will it be the defining factor between life and death for the planet? Exploring Kepler 186f with modern technology is no longer a distant dream, but a possibility closer than ever before. Advanced space telescopes like Kepler and TESS are actively searching for planets that share conditions similar to Earth. Instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope will also open new doors in studying the atmospheres of faraway planets, providing invaluable data on their chemical composition and atmospheric conditions. The rapid development of space technology allows us not only to observe planets like Kepler 186f, but also to delve deeper into studying the potential for life to exist on them. Upcoming space missions will continue to raise fundamental questions about the survivability of life, both human and extraterrestrial. Sending robots or even crewed missions to study planets like Kepler 186f will no longer be science fiction, but a tangible scientific challenge that will bring us closer to understanding life beyond our own planet. However, exploring the universe requires more than just advanced tools. It requires a constantly evolving scientific mindset. The challenge in developing space technology goes beyond building spacecraft that can endure the harsh conditions of space. It also involves developing technologies capable of searching for life in environments that are entirely different from Earth. Technologies like bioscan machines and methods for analyzing signs of life by studying light reflected from distant planets are opening up vast new opportunities. Scientific advancements in the study of space and extraterrestrial life not only help us solve the mysteries of where we live, but also shed light on where we could go. Exploring Kepler 186f and similar planets is not just a journey to find life beyond Earth, but also a journey of self-discovery, understanding who we are and what the future of humanity holds in the vast expanse of the universe. As we stand on the threshold of great discoveries, the question of extraterrestrial life, of whether organisms can survive in the extreme environments of planets like Kepler 186f, continues to drive this journey. Will modern technology help us find answers not only about the universe, but also about the future path of human development? The comparison between life on Earth and life beyond our planet is not simply a biological comparison. We see clear evidence of evolution on Earth. From the smallest organisms to the most complex, surviving in environments ranging from the depths of the oceans to the highest mountain peaks. But could the life forms on Kepler 186f have entirely different biological traits? Not relying on elements we understand, like oxygen or carbon? Extraterrestrial life might expand our concept of evolution. Challenging scientific principles that have been established for centuries. Exploring extraterrestrial life is not only a journey to find new organisms, but also a journey of self-discovery. When we look at Kepler 186f, what can we learn about ourselves? Could it be that when faced with life in entirely different conditions, we will realize the limitations of humanity? The very elements that have allowed us to thrive on Earth? Can extraterrestrial life, even if theoretical, teach us about adaptability, perseverance, and survival in an enormous universe filled with the unknown? The universe, with its infinite expanse and unsolved mysteries, presents a canvas that humanity cannot ignore. Each newly discovered planet, each successful space mission, opens up a new opportunity for us to explore not just the cosmos, but also the very essence of our existence. The role of exploring exoplanets in preparing for humanity's future is undeniable. As challenges such as climate change, war, and depleting resources threaten our existence on Earth. Planets like Kepler 186f may become the key to unlocking hope for a long-term future. Can we learn from these distant worlds to build a more sustainable civilization? One that not only survives, but thrives in the vastness of space. Extraterrestrial life is not merely a far-fetched dream. It could be the key to humanity's survival. When Earth can no longer sustain us, when resources are exhausted and the climate can no longer support life, finding a new home on another planet may no longer be just a fantasy. The Kepler 186f and similar planets might offer hope for a new world, where we can start anew, possibly regenerate life. With lessons from the past and fresh opportunities in hand. The ultimate question remains, can we reach beyond Earth and find life? Find a place where humanity can live and thrive long term? This exploration is not just about expanding the physical boundaries of our existence, but about expanding the very borders of who we are. What will we learn about our existence when confronted with the challenges of a new world? And will extraterrestrial life be the future of humanity, or merely a temporary stop where we find salvation before we are forever lost? Is Kepler 186f just one of countless distant planets waiting to be explored? A tiny speck of light amidst an ocean of stars. Each star holding an untold story. And when we look at this planet, the big question isn't just whether life exists, but whether that life could be like us or entirely different. Kepler 186f could be a world inhabited by strange creatures. Life forms that have never been seen on Earth, where life develops in ways we can't even imagine. But the real question lies in how we will respond when the day comes that we get closer to these planets. Extraterrestrial life is not just a scientific concept. It's an existential question full of uncertainty. Do we truly prepare for such an encounter, where we not only find life but also face beings that may be biologically so different from us that we might not even be able to coexist with them in ways we understand? As space missions continue to expand our horizons, the urgency to prepare both mentally and scientifically for these encounters grows stronger. How will we react? Can we understand and adapt to new forms of life? Or will we become part of a survival struggle in a universe full of surprises? These questions challenge not only the limits of science, but also the deeper issues of human nature and our place in this vast universe. When we look at Kepler 186f, that distant planet is not just a tiny speck of light among countless stars, but it opens up a world of potential, where questions about our very existence are powerfully stirred. Exploring humanity's place in the universe is not just about searching for extraterrestrial life, but about embarking on a journey to explore ourselves within an endless cosmos. If Kepler 186f truly holds the potential to sustain life, could this discovery change the way we view ourselves, our role, and our capabilities in this vast expanse? Yet, the deeper question isn't just about how space exploration might change us, but what responsibility will we face when we realize that life could exist beyond Earth? And confronted with such discoveries, will we be able to overcome human arrogance and accept that the universe is not just meant for us? Could we, one day, when encountering extraterrestrial life, have the capacity to protect ourselves and learn from being so different they are beyond our wildest imaginations? Extraterrestrial life is not a far-fetched goal, but a reminder of our humility in this vast universe. Kepler 186f, like a mirror, will not only teach us about life, but will serve as a reminder of there's much more to learn about ourselves and the future of humanity. So, how will we continue to explore this vast world? And will the discovery of extraterrestrial life radically change our understanding of our existence? Kepler 186f might just be one among countless worlds waiting to be explored. One of billions of planets we have yet to discover, each planet a question without an answer. But in this boundless expanse of space, could it be the only place where we find life? Or is it merely a small piece of a vast universe teeming with other forms of existence we have yet to imagine? If life truly exists on Kepler 186f, it wouldn't just be a lesson in biology or evolution. It would be a lesson about us, about humanity, about how we see ourselves in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. The great question would arise: could life on a distant planet compel us to question the meaning of our own existence? And might it change the way we perceive our place in this vast universe? A tiny species on a desolate planet. amidst stars that will never cease burning. Perhaps this question will never have a clear answer. But one thing is certain, as we continue our search, each new discovery, whether it's about Kepler 186f or other distant worlds, will be a fragment in the greater story of existence, life, and ultimately humanity itself. And so, we will continue to look toward the cosmos, not only with curious eyes, but with open hearts, ready to embrace whatever wonders this universe has waiting for us to uncover. Thank you for staying with WUFO Space until the very end of this journey through the vast universe. If you found this video interesting and insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WUFO Space so you won't miss our next cosmic adventures. Your support means the world to us and fuels our passion to keep exploring the wonders beyond.